At some point, we no longer bother with winning or losing. We choose to remain silent and smile, overcoming all pressure with serenity in our souls. That is not weakness, but the choice of one who has understood life. Happiness does not come from struggle, but from peace within one's own soul, amidst life's hustle and bustle. We only wish for the years to pass in stillness. May this life be peaceful for us and for those we love. Because sometimes living simply is precisely how we achieve the deepest sense of fulfillment. There are days when we feel as if we've fallen into an invisible void, our minds heavy, our hearts burdened with so many unspoken things. All efforts seem to yield no results. People then easily feel weary, easily give up. We look around, and everyone is busy. Everyone is facing their own worries. And in our own loneliness, we realize that no one can live our life for us. No one can carry our suffering. That's life. There are unnamed sorrows. There are fears that cannot be shared. Sometimes, just an unintentional remark, an indifferent look, can wound a person's heart. Many try to escape through work, through entertainment, through social media, but the more they escape, the more restless their minds become. Then, one night, when everything settles down, we confront ourselves and understand that true suffering does not lie externally, but within our own minds. The Buddha taught that all suffering arises from the mind. When our mind is filled with resentment, anger, and craving, no matter how beautiful the world outside, our heart remains dark. But when our mind knows how to let go, knows how to see everything with compassion, then even amidst life's storms, we can still be peaceful. Peace is not the absence of storms, but remaining calm like a still lake amidst them. Perhaps that is why the Buddha's teachings become a miraculous remedy for those who are weary. Each night, just spending a few minutes listening to the Dharma, we feel as if we return to ourselves, cleansing all the worries that have disturbed our minds. The warm, deep sounds of the sutras, the verses, are like cool water permeating a parched soul. Listening to the Buddha's teachings is not just about learning principles, but learning how to return, how to love, let go, and heal. When listening, we understand that suffering is not to be avoided, but to recognize ourselves within it. Every suffering is a lesson. Every tear is a reminder that we were once too demanding, too attached, too harsh with ourselves and others. When we understand this, we no longer blame life, no longer blame others, but simply look back, smile, and say, "So, everything happens by cause and condition." Life is like a river. Sometimes it's calm, sometimes it's turbulent. We cannot control the flow, but we can learn to swim through it. The Buddha's teachings are like a lamp in the night, illuminating our path. When your mind is weary, listen to the Buddha's teachings. When your heart is sad, return to your breath. Just one mindful breath can make our mind pause amidst countless thoughts. Happiness is actually not far away. It lies right in the moment we know how to stop, how to listen to ourselves. Each night before sleep, instead of letting your mind drift with worries, sit still, close your eyes, and listen to the Buddha's words. Just a few minutes, but it's enough to soothe the heart, enough to release worries, and enough to see that peace has never abandoned us. We just forgot how to return. Listening to the Buddha's teachings every night is a way to cultivate the soul. It is the path of returning. No need for elaborate rituals, no need for complex forms, just a sincere heart and a sense that knows how to listen. We have begun to walk on the path of enlightenment. And as the mind gradually awakens, suffering naturally dissolves. When the mind knows how to let go, the heart naturally lightens. When the mind is clear, the path of life naturally brightens. Therefore, when your mind is weary, listen to the Buddha's teachings. Let the Buddha's words be like night dew, permeating every corner of your soul, calming the many inner storms raging. There are days when we feel our hearts heavy, many unfulfilled plans, unhealed wounds, unfinished business that keeps us from sleeping peacefully. In the rush of life, everyone is trying to gain more, trying to prove themselves capable and strong. But when night falls, when the sounds of cars outside gradually quiet, when only we and our breath remain, we realize that what truly exhausts us is not work, not others, but precisely the things we haven't been able to let go of. Letting go sounds easy, but it is the hardest lesson in life. Because people often fear loss. We fear losing money, losing affection, losing reputation, losing trust. We fear being hurt, forgotten, or no longer loved as before. So we try to hold on, try to control everything, even though deep down we know that some things cannot be forced. The harder we try, the more restless our minds. The tighter we hold, the more suffering clings. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is attachment. When we are attached to a person, we suffer because of that person. When we are attached to a thing, we suffer because of that thing. Because the nature of life is impermanence. Everything changes. Everything flows. Nothing can last forever. When we don't understand that, we will forever struggle in the cycles of gain and loss, love and hate, holding on and letting go. Only when we know how to let go do we truly feel lighthearted. Letting go, according to Buddhist teachings, is not escape or indifference. It is not abandoning life or severing emotions. Letting go is knowing how to look deeply, knowing how to clearly understand the nature of all things so that the mind is not bound. When we understand that everything arises and ceases due to conditions, we will learn to smile when conditions arrive and be peaceful when conditions pass. The story of the merchant and the jade vase is a testament to this. An Hung, a wealthy and ambitious merchant, always carried with him a precious jade vase left by his father. It was a treasure he considered his soul, a symbol of success, of his family's glorious past. He never let the vase out of his sight, keeping it close wherever he went, whatever he did. One day, on a sea voyage, a storm arose. The small boat swayed precariously, and the jade vase slipped from his hand, falling towards the edge of the boat. In that instant, he thought of nothing else, lunging after it, trying to save the treasure. His whole body leaned out, just a little more, and he would have fallen into the deep sea. Fortunately, a Zen master traveling with him managed to pull him back. The jade vase fell, sinking into the water. An Hung clung to the railing, gasping for breath and regretting. He cried out in despair. "That was my father's possession. It's all I have left." The Zen master looked at him, his gentle eyes softly saying, "If you hadn't let go, you would have drowned. That vase is precious, but your life is more precious. Let go, and you will feel light as a cloud." An Hung bowed his head, tears mingling with the sea wind. It was then that he truly understood that he had almost lost himself trying to hold on to a precious object. After that trip, An Hung changed. He still ran his business, still worked, but his heart was different. He learned to live more simply, appreciating ordinary things that he had previously overlooked. He understood that life is not a race to gain everything, but a journey of learning to let go of what is unnecessary, to keep what is truly valuable. Health, peace, and love. The Buddha taught that letting go is not losing, but gaining inner peace. One who knows how to let go is truly holding on. Because when we can let go of fear, we gain freedom. When we can let go of resentment, we gain peace and happiness. When we can let go of the past, we gain the present. In this life, everyone has things that burden their heart. Some suffer from love, some from money, some from loss. But whatever the suffering, it all stems from not knowing how to let go. The more one tries to hold on, the more one suffers. The more one is attached, the more one is hurt. Yet, when we learn the miraculous way to let go, all worries transform into serenity. Someone once said, "Letting go is not forgetting, but no longer being controlled." That's right. When we let go, memories are still there, recollections still remain, but our mind is no longer bound by them. We can look back without pain. We can remember and still smile. Letting go is liberating oneself. The Buddha taught that a practitioner is not just someone wearing robes, but anyone who cultivates their mind daily. When we know how to look deeply into the nature of what makes us suffer, we have begun the path of letting go of resentment for a tranquil heart, letting go of comparison to feel sufficient, letting go of perfectionism to understand that life is inherently imperfect, letting go of expectations to know simple love, and letting go of the past to open our heart to the present. Letting go is a journey, not the result of a single day. Each day we learn a little. Each day we gently release something. Today we let go of anger. Tomorrow we let go of fear. And then, gradually, we will find our heart light as a cloud, our soul vast as the sky. If possible, each night before sleep, sit still for a few minutes, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what can I let go of today? It could be a remark that hurt us, a thought that exhausted us, a memory that tormented us. Imagine yourself putting them down gently without forcing. Breathe in, knowing you are alive. Breathe out, knowing you are letting go. Like that, with each breath, each beat of the heart, little by little, suffering will dissipate, making way for pervasive tranquility. In that moment, we will realize that life is not too complex. Suffering doesn't come from outside, but from our mind not knowing how to stop. When we let go, we lose nothing at all. On the contrary, we gain a lot. Freedom, peace, abiding in the present. Please remember that when you know how to let go, that's when you truly hold on. Hold on to peace. Hold on to joy. Hold on to yourself in stillness. Letting go is not abandoning life, but living amidst life without being swept away by it. And then, amidst all the changes of the world, we can still smile, because within our heart there is a sky without storms. Letting go is the art of living amidst life, knowing when to hold, knowing when to release, loving without attachment, caring without suffering. Letting go is stopping amidst life's rush to listen to one's own heart. It is ceasing to resist impermanence and instead going with it light-heartedly. When we let go, we lose nothing at all, but only discard what is no longer necessary. When we let go, we truly see ourselves clearly, see life clearly, and see that happiness has never been far away. There are evenings after work when we return home utterly exhausted, body weary, mind heavy. Sometimes we sit on the porch, watching cars pass by, but our heart feels swept into an invisible vortex. The pressures of life, of work, of money, of relationships make us feel suffocated. We feel ourselves trying every day, but it never seems enough. We finish worrying about today and fear tomorrow, finish fearing failure and fear being forgotten. Like that, our heart is burdened with layers of anxiety, layers of fatigue, like a room left uncleared for a long time, dust everywhere. And we ourselves can no longer see ourselves clearly in it. The Buddha taught that when the mind is peaceful, the environment is peaceful. When the mind is agitated, life is chaotic. This seemingly simple statement contains a profound truth. Pressure doesn't truly come from outside, but from within our unsettled mind. When the heart holds many attachments, even small things become significant. When the mind isn't clear enough, wherever you look, you see worries. Pressure is not because life is too harsh, but because we carry too many burdens of expectations, comparison, perfectionism, and fear. There is a story about Ms. Mai, a teacher who has taught for almost 20 years. She was dedicated, loved her profession, loved her students. But in recent years, she always felt tired. Every morning, stepping into the classroom, she no longer saw joy in her students' eyes, but only grades, tests, stressful meetings. Competitive colleagues, demanding parents, pressure from superiors gradually made her hardened. At night, she couldn't sleep. Her heart felt heavy as a stone, as if something was pressing down that couldn't be released. One day, after months of non-stop work, she asked for a few days off. Returning to her hometown, she stayed in her parents' old house, a place she hadn't returned to in a long time. The room was thickly covered in dust. Every table, Every window pane was covered by a layer of hazy dust. Sunlight streaming through the curtain gaps, illuminating floating dust particles, made the space both beautiful and sad. She looked around and felt her heart sink. She took a cloth and began to wipe every small corner. She wasn't rushed, just gently wiped away the old dust. Each time the cloth passed, the dust disappeared, revealing the polished wood as it once was. When she wiped the study desk where she used to review lessons in her younger days, she suddenly burst into tears. She realized that this room was like her own soul. For years, she had let the dust of worries, dust of expectations, dust of comparison accumulate without knowing. She was so busy, she forgot to clean her own mind. She whispered, "My room is like my mind. If left uncleaned for too long, the dust of worries will cover it." When she understood this, she stopped, took a deep breath. Fresh air entered her lungs, light as water, washing away all fatigue. That day, she sat for a long time by the window, watching golden sunlight fall on the wall. She smiled, a truly gentle smile, as if she had just let go of a long-held burden. From then on, she no longer blamed work, no longer feared pressure. Every morning before stepping into the classroom, she spent a few minutes breathing deeply, smiling at herself. When a student made a mistake, she didn't rush to blame, but chose to understand. When colleagues were difficult, she didn't react, but chose to listen. When facing demands from superiors, she just did her best without emphasizing results. Each time her mind was agitated, she remembered the dusty room of old and reminded herself, "Cleanse your mind every day." The Buddha taught that one who knows how to cleanse their mind, even living in the mundane world, is like being in a pure land, because worldly dust is not out there, but within our own hearts. When the mind is covered by greed, anger, and ignorance, wherever we look, we see suffering. But when we cleanse our mind, the world naturally becomes clear. Pressure is inherently a part of life that no one can avoid. But if we learn how to observe, we will see that pressure is not bad. It only becomes heavy when we attach to it. When we think we must be perfect, must be better than others, must achieve everything. While in life, no one is always superior to others. Only those who know how to live lightly can find true happiness. The Buddha once said, "If one knows how to let go of attachment, one can still smile amidst the sea of suffering." Because suffering is not in the external situation, but in the mind. When the mind is clear, we look at life with gratitude. Pressure also becomes an opportunity for practice. When the mind is awakened, we face all challenges with compassion, and then nothing can make us suffer. Try sitting down, breathing in deeply. Feel the breath entering and exiting. Feel your heartbeat steady and peaceful. Whenever a thought arises, don't push it away. Just smile and acknowledge it. Let everything come and go, like clouds floating in the sky, like waves crashing and dissolving on the shore. That is how to wipe away the dust in the mind. Each breath is a cleansing. Each awareness is a purification of worries. In the evening before sleep, we can practice a small meditation. Sit still. Relax the entire body. Breathe in knowing we are alive. Breathe out knowing we are letting go. Gently ask, am I carrying anything heavy today? If so, imagine putting it down like a heavy bag on the ground after a long journey, feeling the lightness spreading throughout the body. With each breath, each moment, we are returning to ourselves. When the mind is cleansed, we will find everything in life becomes more pleasant. Everyone around us, even those who once exhausted us, becomes more pitiable than anger-inducing. Every word, every glance, every event is just like a fleeting breeze, no longer strong enough to disturb us. Then we no longer fear pressure because we understand that pressure is just a challenge to help us grow. People ask, how can one not feel pressure in this life? The Buddha's answer is very simple. It's not about not having pressure, but not letting pressure control the mind. Like a boatman in a river, water surrounds it, but the boat only sinks when water floods in. Life is the same. Pressure only makes us suffer when we let it flood our hearts. But if the mind is firm, amidst storms, it remains serene like a calm lake. Slow down. Listen to yourself more. Perhaps we don't need too many things, as we thought. Don't need to be too perfect. Don't need everyone to understand us. Don't need everything to go our way. Just knowing how to cleanse the mind every day. Knowing how to gently let go. Knowing how to smile. Then no matter how much dust and wind outside, we can still keep a pure corner for ourselves. When the mind is clean, life is bright. When the heart is light, all burdens dissolve. Let this life still be this life. But we are different. Different in that we don't let our mind be covered by worries. Different in that we know how to stop, breathe, smile amidst imperfections. Because when the mind is at peace, everything becomes peaceful. And if today you feel tired, just sit down, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, I am cleaning the room in my mind. Then gently breathe out, feeling the pressure gradually dissolve. Life is still there, Work is still there. Worries are still there. But our mind has changed. When the mind is clear, life is also clear. When the mind is pure, everything is pure. And when the heart is light, nothing can make us fall. There are nights when we sit alone in a quiet room, looking at old pictures, old memories, like a river flowing backward, surging in our minds. Perhaps it's a familiar face, a voice that once warmed our heart, or just a fleeting memory that makes our heart ache. Many live in the present, but their minds still wander in the past. They still smile, still work. But inside is a whole sky of unquenched memories. And sometimes these past things become invisible chains binding the soul, preventing people from truly living fully. The Buddha taught that the past is gone. The future has not arrived. Only the present is real. That teaching sounds simple, but to live fully in this moment is a lifelong practice. Because the human mind naturally tends to hold on, fear loss, fear change. So when the past passes, they still want to cling to it. They think that letting go means betraying memories. But actually, letting go is how we love more deeply. The story of Ms. Lan is an example. She was a gentle, benevolent woman. She lost her husband when she was just over 40. Her husband, Mr. Hua, was once the pride of the family. A loving husband, devoted father, living sincerely with everyone. The day he left this world due to a traffic accident, the sky seemed to fall before her eyes. On the night of the funeral, she sat silently looking at her husband's photo, tears flowing ceaselessly. From then on, every evening she would light an incense stick, sit by the photo, and talk as if he were still there. She told stories of their child at school, household matters, even trivial things they once shared. Her tears had dried, but her heart was still drenched in pain. One time, a close friend advised her to go to the temple, saying she should pray for her husband's transcendence and also help herself feel lighter. She took the advice, bringing her husband's photo to the temple. While waiting for the ceremony, she sat in the temple courtyard, watching people pass by. In front of her was a nun sweeping leaves. Each leaf fell. The nun gently gathered them, not rushed, not tired. Ms. Lan suddenly found that image truly peaceful. After the ceremony, she met the nun and told her about her pain. The nun listened, then just smiled and said, "That image is the past. Those tears are the future. Only the present can make you smile." Ms. Lan was stunned. The nun continued, "The person is gone, but the love remains. However, If you keep holding on to the old image, the deceased cannot rest, and the living cannot be happy. The past is like a beautiful painting, but if we keep gazing at it, we will forget the painting being drawn today. Ms. Lan stayed at the temple for a few days. The nun taught her breath meditation, taught her how to return to the present. At first, she found it difficult. Whenever she closed her eyes, her husband's image reappeared, and tears fell again. The nun just gently said, "Breathe in. Feel the breath entering your body, and breathe out, letting all memories go with the wind. No need to chase them away. Just acknowledge them." Like that, day by day, Ms. Lan learned to sit still, learned not to escape, but to look directly at the pain in her heart. One day, as she breathed in, she smelled the wafting incense, heard the temple bell ringing, and in that moment, she felt a strange peace. It wasn't that the sadness disappeared, but it became gentle. She suddenly understood that her husband had never truly left. He had just transitioned to another form, and the love still remained in every breath, in every good deed she did. The day she left the temple, the nun gave her a string of prayer beads and said, "Whenever your mind feels heavy, touch each bead. Each bead is a breath returning to the present." From then on, Ms. Lan still lit incense every evening. But instead of crying, she clasped her hands and smiled, praying, "Go in peace, my dear. I will live the rest of my life fully." Every morning, she opened the window to welcome the sunlight, listened to birds singing, her heart feeling lighter. The pain still remained, but was no longer a bleeding wound, but a healed scar, reminding her of love, impermanence, and how to live serenely amidst life. The Buddha taught that the past is an illusion. The future is void. Only the present is real. If the mind is constantly pulled by what has passed, we won't see the flowers blooming today. The past, whether beautiful or sad, is just like winds that have blown by. We cannot hold back the wind, nor can we bring back what is lost. What we can do is learn from it, understand from it, then smile and move on. One who lives perpetually in the past is like holding a hot coal. The tighter one grips it, the more one gets burned. But if one knows to put it down, our hands won't get burned. Letting go of the past is not denying what once was, but learning to put them in their proper place. Because those memories, whether painful or happy, have fulfilled their role. They came to teach us how to love, to lose, to appreciate, and to let go. In Buddhist teachings, there is a very profound concept called impermanence. Everything in life changes. Nothing remains constant. People, objects, emotions, even thoughts continuously arise and cease. Realizing impermanence, we no longer fear loss. Because we understand that nothing is permanent for us to hold on to. It is precisely in that change that we see the value of each present moment. Many people think that only when they achieve something can they be happy. They forget that happiness is not ahead or behind, but right in each breath. A morning cup of tea, a gentle breeze through the hair, a sincere smile. All are happiness if we know how to stop and feel. Letting go of the past is learning how to return to oneself. When we stop and listen to our breath, we will realize that right in this very moment, we are still alive, still have the opportunity to love, still can start over. No matter how many mistakes, how many hurts the past held, it cannot define who we are in the present. Everyone has the right to live anew from today. A simple exercise that the nun once taught Ms. Lan is breath meditation. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. When the breath is deeper, we silently say, breathing in, I return to the present. Breathing out, I smile peacefully. Just a few minutes each day, but miraculously, the mind will lighten. All worries, all memories gradually dissipate like morning mist meeting the sun. Someone asked, if I let go of all the past, will I still remember those I love? The answer is yes, but it is a clear memory, unhindered, without suffering, like looking at a withered flower. We don't regret, just smile because we once saw it bloom. When the mind is clean, life is bright. When the heart is light, all burdens dissolve. What is called peace doesn't come from not having sadness, but from knowing how to navigate sadness while keeping the heart as clear as a still lake. Even if wind ripples the water, it returns to calm. If today you are carrying the pain of the past, try closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, and silently telling yourself, everything is in the past. I choose peace. Don't chase memories away. Don't cling to them. Just smile and let them float like a leaf on the lake. The water may ripple, but then becomes still again. That is the nature of the mind when it knows how to let go. Letting go of the past, embracing the present, is not an easy journey, but it is a sure path to peace and happiness. Each time you remember something from the past, ask yourself, what can I do in this moment to be better? It could be a word of thanks, a deep breath, or a small good deed. Each such action is how we return to the present. The Buddha taught that living in the present with an unhindered mind is nirvana. Nirvana is not a distant place, but a state of mind, when no longer pulled back by the past, not pushed forward by the future. Then, even sitting amidst life, we can still smile as if sitting in a temple. Tonight, if you hear these words in stillness, let the sounds pass like wind, leaving only your breath and inner peace. Feel that you are fully present, not in yesterday, not in tomorrow, but right here in this very moment. The present is the most precious gift life gives us. Let go of the past for a lighter heart. Look at the present to see life's beauty. Live mindfully, so each day is peaceful. And then, when you know how to smile at today, all worries will dissipate like mist in the morning sun. There are evenings when we lie silently in our familiar room, yet our heart feels heavy. Not because of anything too significant, just the silent weariness accumulated day after day. A careless word that hurt us, a misunderstanding that annoyed us, or simply things not going as planned, gradually covers our mind with a layer of sadness. Negative thoughts begin like that, subtle and small, but gradually spreading, like a tiny inner fire burning away the peace we tried to build. Sometimes we don't even realize we're nurturing it. We just feel life suddenly becoming heavy, our outlook on everything gloomy and unsympathetic. The Buddha taught that all suffering begins from our own mind. When the mind is covered by anger, jealousy, blame, or sadness, we see life through that hazy smoke, like looking through a dusty pane of glass. Even if the scene before us is beautiful, we only see it dimly. One who lives in negativity is like tying oneself with an invisible rope. The more one struggles, the tighter it binds. And the sad thing is that we are the ones holding the key to untie that knot. But often, we don't realize it. Someone asked, "How can one suffer less when life still has many injustices? Many people hurt me?" The answer is not in changing the world outside, but in changing one's own inner perspective. Because, as the Buddha taught, the mind is the root. The environment changes according to the mind. If our mind is at peace, all circumstances are light. If our mind is agitated, even in a peaceful place, the heart remains turbulent. Understanding this is the first step of awakening. It is when we begin to return to listen to ourselves instead of blaming others. People living in negativity often don't know that they are suffering more than anyone else. When we are angry, we are the first to be burned by the fire of anger. When we are jealous, we are the ones enduring restlessness, while the other person is unaware. Each negative thought is a drop of poison falling into the mind, and gradually it withers our originally pure garden of the mind. Therefore, a Buddhist practitioner is not one who avoids life, but one who knows how to master their mind in all circumstances. In the past, there was a carpenter named Bin. He was skilled, but hot-tempered, easily irritated. Whenever he encountered a crooked piece of wood, he would sigh and complain. "Why is my life so miserable? Why do I always encounter damaged things that are not to my liking?" He looked at the crooked wood as seeing life's injustices. Each time, anger flared up. He would slam it on the table and be gloomy all day. Sometimes, just because of a piece of wood, he couldn't sleep all night. One day, as Bin was grumbling with the pile of wood in his workshop, a monk stopped by, asking for water. Seeing his grumpy face, the monk smiled and asked, "Is there something bothering you, my son?" Bin replied, "Master, I'm just annoyed by these crooked pieces of wood. I want to make a smooth, flat table, but all the wood is bad and warped. How can I get anything done?" The monk took the wood, examined it for a while, then said, "Crooked wood cannot make a flat table, but it can make beautiful armrests. Similarly, in life, some things don't go our way, but if we change our perspective, we can still create something beautiful." Bin listened in silence. The monk continued, "A negative person sees life with suffering. A mindful person sees life with compassion. The wood is not at fault, just as life is not at fault. It's just that our mind hasn't learned to see with compassion and understanding." Having said that, the monk bowed and left in the sunset. Bin stood watching, his heart suddenly lightened. He turned back, picked up the crooked piece of wood, and this time, instead of being annoyed, he smiled. An idea flashed in his mind to make a chair with gracefully curved armrests. When it was finished, he was surprised that the very piece of wood that had once annoyed him created the most beautiful product he had ever made. From that day on, Bin changed. He was no longer angry when encountering crooked wood, nor annoyed when things didn't go his way. He just told himself, "Everything has its place. We just haven't seen it yet." His life gradually became lighter. He laughed more, and his small carpentry workshop became a place where everyone felt warm. The story of An Bin is a miniature reflection of each of us. We have also been like him, angry at the crooked wood in life, someone who doesn't understand us, something that doesn't go our way, an unhealed wound. But if we know how to look deeply, know how to transform our way of thinking, then every unpleasant thing can become a lesson for our mind to mature. The Buddha taught that if there is suffering in the mind, then external circumstances become suffering. If there is joy in the mind, then external circumstances become joy. This means that the realm of one's life is determined by one's mind. When the mind has mindfulness, has awareness, we are no longer caught in the spiral of negativity. Each time we are angry, we know we are angry. Each time we are sad, we know we are sad. Knowing this is not to indulge emotions, but to recognize and let go. Like watching clouds pass across the sky, we just observe without holding on. When the clouds pass, the sky becomes clear again. Mindfulness is a lamp illuminating the consciousness. When mindfulness is present, we are no longer dominated by the darkness of worries. We know what we are thinking, what we are saying, what we are doing. When anger arises, we know it is anger. When resentment appears, we know it is resentment. And just by recognizing without judgment, the mind immediately calms down, like someone seeing a fire, not adding fuel. The fire extinguishes itself. Some people, when facing pain, instead of listening, choose to blame. But blaming only makes the pain greater. A mindful person understands that suffering is a teacher. Each time we feel sadness or anger is an opportunity to reflect on ourselves, to know that we are still attached, still wishing, still expecting. And it is these desires that cause us suffering. When we let go, the heart immediately lightens. Many people think that practice means abandoning the world, that one must go to a temple or high up a mountain to practice. But actually, practice is right in every moment of this life. When we replace a harsh word with a loving one, that is practice. When we know how to smile amidst adversity, that is practice. When, instead of blaming others, we know to look towards understanding, that is precisely practice. Mindfulness is not far away. It lies in each breath, in each awakened thought of ours. Every day, let's try to practice a small thing. When a negative thought arises, stop, close your eyes, and breathe deeply 3 times. Feel the breath entering and exiting. Feel the body being nourished by that breath. Then ask yourself, is this worth losing my peace over? Often, when the mind has settled, we will see that everything becomes much smaller. Sometimes, what made us angry in the morning turns out to be unimportant when we look back at night. Another exercise is each night before sleep. Write down 3 good things from the day, no matter how small. It could be a delicious cup of tea, someone's smile, or a good deed we did. When the mind focuses on good, negativity has no room to live. The mind is like soil. Whatever seed you plant, that will grow. If every day we plant seeds of gratitude and mindfulness, the garden of the mind will gradually become green again. Letting go of negativity is not ignoring what is unpleasant, but looking at them with understanding. When someone hurts us, instead of resenting, think that person is also suffering. Only a suffering person causes suffering to others. When we understand that, our heart naturally softens. And when the heart softens, suffering also dissipates, like water flowing through rock crevices. No matter how hard the rock, water still passes gently without harming itself. The Buddha once taught, if one returns hatred with hatred, that hatred will not cease. Only by returning kindness with hatred will hatred dissolve. One who lives mindfully understands that each time we remain calm, not reacting rashly, we are stopping a flow of bad karma. Each time we choose compassion instead of anger, we are creating new merit. And little by little, our life becomes lighter. Life cannot be free of suffering, but we can reduce our suffering. That is the core of practice. Life doesn't reduce suffering. Only we reduce suffering when the mind knows how to transform. When we understand that, we will stop wishing others would change, stop blaming life, and return to changing our own mind. Because when the mind is clear, the environment is peaceful. When the heart is light, one's steps in life are also light. Evening is the most suitable time to reflect on oneself. After a long day, sit still or relax. Listen to your breath. If there's anything heavy in your heart, name it. This is sadness. This is anger. This is worry. Then smile at it, as if smiling at an old friend. All emotions will pass. Only mindfulness remains. When we are aware enough to realize that negative shadows gradually dissipate without needing force. Imagine your mind as a lake. Each time you get angry or sad, it's like throwing a stone. The water is murky, not because the lake is bad, but because the waves are not calm. Life is the same. Just by stopping, not feeding negativity, the heart will gradually brighten. Someone once asked a Zen master, "Master, how can the mind not be sad?" He replied, "I do nothing. When sadness comes, I greet it. When sadness leaves, I bid it farewell." That answer seems simple, but contains the entire spirit of mindfulness. It is a deep understanding that all emotions are impermanent. They come and go. The more you try to hold on, the more it hurts. the more you are attached, the more you suffer. If today your heart still holds fragments of negativity, gently put them down. No need to rush, no need to force, just a little each day. Learn to see everything with a more peaceful, understanding, compassionate mind. Then you will realize that what once had you suffer are precisely the lessons that help your mind mature. Tonight, as you listen to the Buddha's teachings, allow yourself to truly rest. Rest is not just putting your body down, but letting your mind abide in this moment. Leave all worries for tomorrow. In this moment, just a deep breath, a gentle smile, and you are returning to yourself. Close your eyes, feel the breath entering and exiting at the tip of your nose. Breathe in. Know you are breathing in. Breathe out. Know you are breathing out. Breathe in. Body at peace. Breathe out. Mind awakened. Slowly, gently, like that. Each breath is a miracle. Each moment of awareness is a step forward on the path to enlightenment. When you live in mindfulness, negativity no longer hurts you. It comes, you see it, you smile, then it goes. Like clouds passing across the sky, leaving no trace. Then life becomes clear, light as early morning. Remember that letting go of negativity does not mean becoming cold or indifferent, but knowing how to love correctly. Knowing how to love oneself. Knowing how to love others with an understanding mind. When the heart has compassion, negativity cannot reside. When the mind has the light of mindfulness, darkness naturally dissipates. Tonight, if someone is listening to these words on the Lin Ung Buddhist Dharma channel, I hope you will feel a little peace in your mind. Even if there are still many storms outside, as long as you have mindfulness within, you will no longer be afraid. Believe that nothing lasts forever. Sadness will also dissipate like morning mist under the sunrise. And with each breath, each moment of stillness, you are gradually healing yourself. Letting go of negativity is not to avoid life, but to live more deeply, more genuinely, with a light, compassionate, and clear soul. When the mind is at peace, the world is at peace. When you smile, life will smile back at you. And that is what the Buddha wants to teach us. Return to your own peaceful mind, where all suffering melts away and all happiness begins. There are nights when we toss and turn, unable to sleep, our hearts burdened with countless old stories, past words, wounds thought forgotten. But just a slight trigger, the wound bleeds again. Some people who were once friends, once close, once trusted, now make us carry deep-seated resentment. We say we don't care anymore, but actually, our heart is still heavy. Deep down, we still want them to pay, want justice, want them to understand the pain they caused us. But then we ask ourselves, will that justice truly bring peace, or just make us more tired? Because while we resent, the other person might be sleeping peacefully, living happily, while we are still trapped in a self-immolating fire. The Buddha taught that holding resentment in your heart is like holding a hot coal to throw at others. First, your own hand will be burned. When we harbor resentment, we punish no one, but only burn our own soul. Resentment is a smoldering fire, not flaring up, but strong enough to chill the human heart. And only when we know to put it down, know how to forgive, do we truly become free. In the past, there was a man named Tan. He was once a gentle, harmonious, honest man in business. For decades, he built a close friendship with someone like a blood brother, sharing all joys and sorrows. But one day, for a small gain, that friend betrayed him, took his money and left, leaving him empty-handed and bitter. From then on, Mr. Tan lived in resentment. Whenever anyone mentioned that friend, his eyes flashed with anger, his voice filled with bitterness. He said, "I will never forgive. I want that person to suffer as I do." Years passed like that. His hair turned white, but his heart still burned with resentment. Even though he rebuilt his life, he couldn't find peace. Every night, he would remember that betrayer, and the fire of anger in him would flare up as if it were yesterday. One night, he dreamed he was standing in a dark room facing his old friend. In his hand, he held a glowing red coal. He screamed and threw it hard at the person. But strangely, the coal hadn't even touched anyone, but had severely burned his hand. In pain, he tried to let go, but couldn't open his hand. Fire spread, burning his flesh. He screamed in despair. When he woke up, his body was drenched in sweat. His hand still felt burning hot. He sat silently in the night and suddenly understood that the coal was the resentment in his heart. For years, he held it tight, thinking he would throw it to hurt others, unaware he was the one being burned first. The next morning, he went to the temple, met the old monk, and told him about his dream. The monk just smiled and said, "You have seen your own fire. No one forced you to hold it, but only when you let go will that fire extinguish." From that day on, Mr. Tan began to learn how to let go. Letting go was not forgetting immediately. He still remembered the old story, but instead of resenting, he began to be grateful. Grateful because through it, he understood human nature, understood impermanence. Grateful because through a wound, he learned the greatest lesson in life. Forgiveness is not for them, but for oneself to rest. The Buddha once taught, "When a mind of hatred arises, the mind of compassion is lost. When the mind of compassion is present, hatred has no place to reside." Forgiveness is not condoning, but an act of awakening. It doesn't make others innocent, but it liberates us from suffering. When we forgive, we no longer live in the past, but return to the present, where there's no one left to blame, only peace. In life, everyone has been hurt. Some have been betrayed, some deceived, some slandered, some abandoned. Those wounds run deep in the heart, causing us to lose faith and even our initial kindness. But if we perpetually cling to resentment, it's like tying ourselves in the prison of our own emotions. The person who hurt us might only appear for a moment, but resentment makes us suffer for many more years. Someone once asked the Buddha, "I have been hurt so deeply by others, I cannot forget. How can I forgive?" The Buddha just smiled and said, "Imagine that every time you think of them, you carry a stone on your shoulder. At first, it's just a small stone, but the more you think and resent, the heavier the stone becomes. One day, you are tired, your back aches, your legs are weak, but you still don't put it down. When you learn to put that stone down, you will understand what freedom is. Forgiveness is not an action, but a process of the mind. It begins with the realization that we cannot change others, only change how we see them. Then it moves to compassion, understanding that everyone has their own suffering. Everyone is being led by karma. And finally, to relinquishment. When we understand that everything is impermanent, like clouds passing in the sky, nothing is worth holding on to forever. Once we understand this, our heart feels so light. We look at the person who once made us suffer without resentment. We understand that if they were truly happy, they wouldn't hurt others. And when we send them loving kindness, our heart is truly at peace. Someone said, "Forgiveness is the greatest gift we can give ourselves, because when we forgive, we are no longer victims of the past. We stand up, smile, and move on with a light heart." If, right now, you are carrying some cauldron of resentment, try sitting still, closing your eyes, breathing deeply, and looking at that pain like an observer. Don't judge, don't hate, just observe, and then ask yourself, how long do I want to keep holding on to this? If today were my last day, would I want to leave with resentment? Or would I want to walk away gently, smiling? Letting go of resentment is not easy, but each breath, each kind thought will bring us closer to peace. Each night before sleep, practice sending forgiveness. No need to say it aloud. Just think it in your mind. I forgive those who have hurt me, and I apologize to those I have made sad. Whether the other person knows or not, as long as our heart is sincere, our mind is already light. The Buddha taught that if anyone returns hatred with hatred, that hatred will never cease. Only by loving kindness does hatred cease. So choose the path of compassion. When our heart is filled with compassion, resentment naturally dissipates like morning mist under the sunlight. Tonight, before sleep, try a small meditation practice. Sit still. Place your hands on your chest. Listen to your heartbeat. With each breath in, silently say, I know I am alive. With each breath out, gently say, I let go of resentment. Doing this for a few minutes each night, you will see a miracle. The compassionate heart gradually blooms, pain gradually lightens, and your sleep becomes more peaceful than ever. Remember that a forgiving person is not weak, but courageous. Because they dare to look at the wound, dare to heal it, dare to live on with a heart full of compassion. And when you can forgive, you not only liberate yourself, but also liberate the other person from the burden of guilt in their mind. Someone once said, if you cannot forgive, you will carry all the pain of the past throughout your life. But if you learn how to let go, you will understand that everything is just a lesson. The person who came to hurt you is the one who helps you grow. The betrayer is the one who helps you realize the value of sincerity. The one who leaves is the one who teaches you how to stand alone without fear. And like that, we no longer resent, only know gratitude. When gratitude arises, resentment dissipates like thin mist before the wind. Forgiveness is no longer difficult, but becomes an instinct of a soul that understands the Dharma. We live more gently, speak more softly, and look at life with compassionate eyes. Life is inherently impermanent. The person who hurts us today might be the one who comes to apologize tomorrow. The person who makes us suffer today might be carrying other suffering that we don't know about. So what's the point of holding on to resentment? Isn't it better if we learn to love, even those who once made us sad? Letting go of resentment does not mean forgetting everything, but choosing not to let the past control the present. We still remember, but remember with a peaceful heart. We still think, but think with a compassionate mind. And that is true freedom. When the heart is at peace, sleep will be deep. When the mind is light, tomorrow will be different. Every night, if we can listen to the Buddha's teachings again to remind ourselves of impermanence, of forgiveness, of compassion, then even if this life still has many storms, there will still be moments of peace, like a gentle breeze. Forgive because you deserve to be free. Let go of resentment because you deserve to be peaceful. And believe that each time we know how to love, the universe will love us back 1,000-fold. There are days when we feel our heart unusually constricted. A small word can annoy us. An unintentional action by someone can make us think endlessly, feeling egoistic, hurt. We feel that people are difficult, that everyone is intentionally making us sad, that no one understands us, no one is sincere. The more we think, the more we withdraw, the more we close our hearts. We live in a safe shell where we believe that if we don't open our hearts, we won't be hurt again. But we don't realize that precisely that closed heart makes us lonelier than any hurt. The Buddha taught that when the human heart is covered by narrow-mindedness, the light of wisdom cannot illuminate. Narrow-mindedness is the root of anger, division, and suffering. It makes us see everything within the small frame of our ego. We forget that this world is not just about us, but also about others. Each person carries a story, a suffering, a unique perspective. Someone once said, "When you clench your fist, you hold nothing. When you open your heart, the whole world is in your hand." That saying sounds simple, but contains a profound lesson. Clenching a fist is the image of someone holding on to what they believe is right, good, fair. But in that clenched fist, there's no room for new things, for love or compassion to enter. But when we open our heart, just like opening our hand, we can receive everything, whether it's smiles or tears, joy or sorrow. All can become seeds for understanding. In this life, so many conflicts arise just because people's hearts are too small. An argument, an undeserving misunderstanding, a little rivalry in words can make us sulk and become distant. Then, from a small crack, feelings gradually fade. Friends become strangers. Neighbors become rivals. There are things that if we just yielded a step, offered a smile, everything would be peaceful. But we choose to stubbornly cling to our ego, thereby pushing ourselves into suffering. In the past, in a small village by the river, there were two neighboring houses, Mrs. Lee's house and Mr. Fuchs' house. Between the two houses stood an old mango tree. The mango tree grew right on the boundary. Its base was on Mrs. Lee's side, but its branches spread to Mr. Fuchs' side. Each mango season, whoever's side the fruit fell on, that side picked it up. Everything was peaceful until one year. There were few mangoes on Mrs. Lee's side, while Mr. Fuchs' side had many. Mrs. Lee saw this and got angry, thinking Mr. Fuchs intentionally trimmed the tree to catch the fruit. From then on, whenever she saw him pass by, she would glare, sigh, and utter sarcastic remarks. Mr. Fuchs was sad to hear it, but didn't retort. One day, a strong wind rose, and mangoes fell all over his yard. He looked at the ripe, golden mangoes, remembered his angry neighbor, and suddenly thought, if I bring them as a gift, she might misunderstand it as me teasing her. But then he remembered his father's old teaching. When people's hearts are angry, only kindness can cool them down. He gently picked the most beautiful mangoes, put them in a basket, and knocked on Mrs. Lee's door. When the door opened, she saw him and was about to close it. But he quickly said, I brought mangoes over. The wind yesterday made so many fall, my family can't eat them all. She paused, looked at the basket of golden, fragrant mangoes, then fell silent. She was embarrassed, couldn't say a word. He just smiled. This mango tree lives between two houses. It doesn't distinguish between anyone. Whichever side the wind blows the mangoes to, that is fate. If we keep holding on to things in our hearts, the tree won't be happy enough to bear fruit anymore. From that day on, Mrs. Lee stopped being angry. She even brought cakes back as a gift, and the two became close friends. Each mango season, they picked them together, shared them equally, and sat under the tree, telling stories of life. That mango tree, from a source of conflict, became a symbol of neighborly love and compassion. The Buddha taught that the human heart is like soil. The wider it is, the more good things it can nurture. One who knows how to open their heart will find life light as the wind, because they are unburdened. They know that what we give away is never lost, but transforms into blessings. Conversely, a narrow-minded person is like a small vase, overflowing with just one drop of water. A heart as vast as the ocean, no matter how many drops of water pour in, remains calm. We are narrow-minded because we fear loss, fear others being better than us, fear being disadvantaged, fear not being recognized. But actually, all those fears arise from ego attachment. The ego always believes it is the center. When we learn to see further, understand that everyone has their own suffering, we will be less narrow-minded. Someone who speaks harshly might be under pressure. Someone who behaves hardly might be feeling insecure. When we open our heart to understand, anger naturally dissolves. A monk once said, "A narrow mind sees suffering. A broad mind sees peace." That saying is short, yet profound. When we live with a broad mind, we no longer compare or contend. We know that everyone is on their own learning path. Some are learning patience, some are learning compassion, and we are also learning tolerance. If we get angry with them because they don't understand enough, how is that different from being angry at a child for not knowing how to walk? There are times when we react too quickly. When someone says something, we immediately retort with ego. Afterward, when calm, we realize there was nothing serious. At that moment, we realize narrow-mindedness not only hurts others, but also makes us lose ourselves, lose composure, lose compassion, lose peace. The Buddha taught that a narrow-minded person only sees others' faults. A broad-minded person only sees good. When we always look at others' faults, our heart creates worries. But when we learn to see with eyes of compassion, we see everything as deserving of understanding. And at that very moment, we become free. If every day we spend a little time contemplating our own heart, we will see how many times we have closed our hearts unknowingly. When someone succeeds, we feel jealous. When someone is praised, we feel uncomfortable. When someone makes a mistake, we feel smug. All these reactions are manifestations of a narrow mind. They come very quickly, silently, like passing clouds. But if we don't recognize them, they will obscure the light of compassion within us. Try opening your heart with a small act. When you see someone happy, smile, wish them peace. When you see someone stumble, think, "I wish them peace." When someone makes a mistake, instead of blaming, think, "I hope they soon awaken." Just one kind thought, and you have planted a good seed in your mind. And that seed, if nurtured with compassion, will bloom with tolerance. The Buddha taught the four immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. These are 4 ways of living that help people find peace and happiness amidst life's many changes. Loving kindness is the mind that gives joy. Compassion is the mind that saves from suffering. Sympathetic joy is rejoicing in others' joy. And equanimity is letting go of attachments. When we can live with these four minds, narrow-mindedness naturally disappears. Try a small practice every night before sleep. Sit still. Breathe gently. When breathing in, think that you are breathing in the energy of love. When breathing out, think that you are letting go of all narrow-mindedness. Then, silently say, "May all beings be peaceful. May those I love be peaceful. May even those who make me sad be peaceful." Repeat a few times, and you will feel your heart warm. Resentments gradually dissipate, leaving only lightness, like a cool breeze in the quiet night. The sound of the wind, the ringing temple bells, the nocturnal insects, all seem to blend into the breath, like a reminder that all things have their place in life. When we open our heart, we also merge into that flow of life, no longer distinguishing between self and other, gain and loss. A tolerant person will always have many friends, much joy, and few enemies. They are loved and appreciated wherever they go, because the energy they radiate is peace. Conversely, a narrow-minded person, no matter how much money or status they have, finds it hard to be happy. They are always suspicious, always afraid of others being better than them, always living in opposition. Their life is thus weary. Remember that no one in this world is perfect. Everyone has light and dark parts. When we only see the dark parts of others, we miss the chance to see the good they are striving for. But when we see with compassion, we see everyone as being on their own path of learning, just like us. They too will change, will grow in understanding and love. Tonight, as you hear these words, let the sounds gently pass through your mind. Imagine your heart like a lotus blooming in a still lake. Each breath is a lotus petal opening, spreading the fragrance of compassion. In that moment, you are no longer someone who is angry at anyone, no longer someone who was hurt, but just a soul returning to its original peace. Letting go of narrow-mindedness does not mean forgetting everything, but understanding that nothing is worth holding on to. When we open our heart, we gain more than we lose. We gain more joy, more peace, more love. And when the heart is broad, the world around us suddenly becomes more beautiful, gentler. This life, after all, is not a battle to win or lose, but a journey to learn love. Everyone who comes into our life, whether bringing joy or sorrow, is a teacher helping us learn another lesson. When we open our heart to receive, we have taken a long step, on the path of enlightenment. Let tonight be a night of soothing calm. Let go of what makes your heart constricted. Open up to receive breath, sound, life, and love. And let the Buddha's teachings resonate in your mind. When you clench your fist, you hold nothing. When you open your heart, the whole world is in your hand. There are evenings, after a long, tiring day, when we sit silently in our small room, hearing only our own breath mingling with the rhythm of the wind outside the porch. In that moment, we realize that most of life's weariness and worries are not because we lack anything, but because we don't know what is enough. Modern life makes people have more, but their minds are more restless. Some have money, big houses, but still feel empty inside. Some have nothing significant, but can still smile peacefully at the morning sun. The Buddha taught that knowing contentment is contentment, great contentment, meaning knowing enough is enough. Knowing enough is the greatest blessing. There are times when we constantly chase something, wishing for more love, wishing others understood us more. We think that when we achieve that, we will be happy. But once we have it, we still feel lacking, restless, incomplete. The greedy mind has no limits, like a cracked cup. No matter how much water you pour, it can never be full. The Buddha once taught, if one knows contentment, even lying on the ground, one feels joy. If one does not know contentment, even in heaven, one is not satisfied. That saying contains a simple yet profound truth. Happiness is not in quantity but in feeling. I remember a small story about Mr. Hua, a farmer living in a poor countryside. His house was thatched, with only an old table and a small oil lamp. Every evening, he sat on the porch, listening to crickets chirping, gazing at the faint moonlight shining through bamboo groves. When his grandson came to visit from the city, seeing that simple scene, he asked, "Don't you feel miserable, Grandpa? In the city, people have bright electricity, TVs, all kinds of conveniences. And you only have this small lamp." Mr. Hua smiled gently. A small lamp is enough to light the night. If the heart is content, what more is needed? That saying seems simple, but is a great lesson on the way of life. Because in today's society, we are easily swept into the current of desires, comparison, and competition. We forget that humans don't need much to be happy. What we need is not many things to possess, but a mind that knows how to appreciate what it has. The Buddha taught that one who knows contentment is the richest. Rich not in money, but because the mind lacks nothing. When the mind knows enough, we naturally feel serene wherever we are. But when the mind doesn't have enough, even in a wealthy place, we still feel restless, still feel something is missing. This life is like a glass of water. Some taste bitterness, some taste sweetness. But the nature of water doesn't change. Only the mind of the drinker is different. When our mind is angry, everything becomes unpleasant. When our mind is calm, everything becomes more pleasant. Living simply doesn't mean living in hardship, but knowing how to let go of unnecessary things. Sometimes we buy many things just to fill a room, but overcrowd our heart. Sometimes we want many relationships, but lose peace and quiet. Simplicity is when we learn to choose what is truly important. What should be let go. The more simply we live, the more we can taste life's true flavor. Like bitter tea with a sweet aftertaste, like temple bells ringing in the quiet afternoon. Someone asked, "How can one live simply in this complex life?" The Buddha taught, "Start from the mind." When our mind is simple, everything around us also becomes lighter. Simplicity is not abandoning everything, but keeping what brings us peace. Simplicity is when we can be happy with a simple meal, grateful for a cool drink, appreciative of a kind inquiry. When we realize that happiness is not far away, but right in those simple things, then the heart feels content. Try looking back at your life. Haven't we sometimes lost peaceful moments just by chasing after fleeting things? Haven't we sometimes felt jealous of others and forgotten that we ourselves have many precious things? Some have big houses, but no peaceful sleep. Some drive luxurious cars, but their minds are still anxious. But the old man with the small oil lamp, though poor, his mind was brighter than the lamp because he knew contentment. One evening, on the Lin Buddhist Dharma channel, I remember hearing the teacher explain that knowing enough is not abandoning effort, but knowing when to stop. People need to strive, but should not be led by ambition, just like drinking water. Just enough to quench thirst. Drinking more will cause a stomachache. Knowing enough is knowing the stopping point of desire. It is not limitation, but awareness. Practicing contentment daily is not difficult. We just need to practice focusing on what we have. Each morning, instead of complaining about being tired, silently give thanks for still being able to wake up. Each meal, instead of complaining about simple fare, remember that countless people are still hungry. Whenever something doesn't go as planned, tell yourself that everything happens for a reason, and we are still learning how to calm our minds. The Buddha once said, One who knows contentment finds peace in every breath. Try sitting still, taking a deep breath, feeling the air entering and exiting. Each breath is a gift. When we realize that, we will find our heart naturally filled with gratitude. Happiness doesn't need to be found in distant places. It lies in each present moment. There is a simple, yet very effective practice: the daily contentment exercise. Before going to sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for today. It could be a delicious meal, a greeting, or just the sunlight streaming through the window. When we focus on these things, the mind will gradually transform from dissatisfaction to gratitude, from lack to sufficiency. Just like Mr. Hua, who lived a simple yet happy life. Once, when there was heavy rain and the wind blew out his lamp, his grandson anxiously asked, "Grandpa, aren't you afraid of the dark?" He smiled. "Night will turn to day. The lamp is out, but I still have light in my heart." That saying is the spirit of Buddhist Dharma, because one who knows contentment does not depend on external circumstances, but lives by the light of their own mind. Simplicity is not poverty, but freedom. When we are not dependent on material things, we live more lightly. When we are not bound by greed, we go further. Peace is a great blessing, because only when the mind is at peace can we see life clearly. Some people spend their whole lives seeking blessings, but don't know that the greatest blessing is knowing contentment, is a peaceful mind. The Buddha once compared the human mind to a glass of water. If you stir it, the water will be murky. If you let it sit, the water will be clear. Life is the same. The more complex, the more agitated, the more tired we become. When we know how to stop, know how to let the heart be still, we will find a space of serenity within ourselves. Therefore, each night before sleep, dedicate a little time to stillness. Sit still, breathe in deeply, breathe out slowly. Feel each breath, each heartbeat, each small sound around you. When the mind returns to the breath, all worries dissipate like morning mist in the sun. Silently tell yourself, "I have enough, I need nothing more. I am at peace in the present." If someone asks what happiness is, perhaps the simplest answer is that happiness is when we know we have enough. Knowing enough not to endlessly long. Knowing enough to smile in adversity. Knowing enough to love the simple things around us. Tonight, as you listen to the Buddha's teachings, let your mind settle so that desires, worries, and weariness temporarily recede. Let your own breath become a gentle mantra. Let each heartbeat be a smile of gratitude. Life is short. Don't waste it chasing things that aren't truly necessary. Live simply for a heart light as wind. Know contentment, so each day is a blessed day. And remember that peace doesn't come from outside, but from within our own mind. When we know how to stop, when we realize we have enough, happiness immediately appears. May everyone listening to the Buddha's teachings tonight find a small lamp in their heart. Even if the wind blows and rain falls outside, that lamp will continue to shine, illuminating the path of peace and contentment, so that we know that happiness has actually never been far away. There are nights of true stillness, only the soft sigh echoing in the small room. We sit silently, looking back at the path we have traveled, feeling our heart heavy with unfulfilled things. Sometimes we ask ourselves why we are so tired, when no one forces us to run so fast. We want happiness, but the more we chase it, the further it seems. We want the best, but the more we seek, the more we feel lacking. Modern life makes people feel swept into an endless cycle of desires and comparisons. We always believe that just a little more and everything will be okay. A little more success, a little more praise, a little more understanding from others, a nicer house, a better car, a healthier body. But strangely, the more we have, the more restless our hearts become. The more we long to achieve, the more we fear losing. Deep down, everyone is looking for their own perfect leaf. Like the student long ago in the endless field, constantly walking, but never stopping to realize. Happiness is actually right under our feet. The Buddha taught that one who knows contentment is the richest. Knowing contentment is not about not striving, but about being able to maintain a peaceful mind amidst gains and losses, winning and losing, while living in the world. When we are content with what we have, it's not that we give up on dreams, but that we appreciate the present so that every dream is born from peace and not from suffering. Living in this life, everyone carries a longing to be recognized, to be loved, to be successful. But sometimes, precisely that longing makes us forget that each passing moment of the present is the most precious thing. We lose our peace by constantly comparing our lives with others. Instead of looking deeply within ourselves, we are exhausted by chasing the perfect image we think we must achieve. But perfection is an illusion. This life is like a vast field. If we don't stop, we will never see the beauty of a leaf underfoot. In the past, there was a student named Min. One day, Min's teacher told him, "If you want to understand what true happiness is, go through the field ahead and find for me the most beautiful blade of grass. But remember, you can only go forward. You cannot turn back." Min eagerly set off. The field stretched endlessly, bathed in the early morning sunlight. He saw the first blade of grass, lush green and sparkling with dew. But Min thought there would probably be a more beautiful leaf ahead. So he continued. Each subsequent leaf had its own unique features, but he still wasn't completely satisfied. This leaf was a bit wrinkled. That leaf was a bit small. Another one's color wasn't quite uniform. Min walked on and on. The sun was high in the sky, and the sunlight began to be intense. As the field almost ended, he realized he hadn't chosen a single leaf. In Min's hand was only emptiness. He bowed his head and returned, his heart filled with regret. The teacher, seeing this, just smiled gently and said, "Don't you see? While you were busy searching for the most beautiful leaf, you missed countless beautiful leaves. Life is the same. One who constantly searches for perfection will never find peace. Being content with the present is the greatest wisdom." That story, though seemingly simple, is a mirror reflecting the lives of countless people. Some, because they are constantly searching for something better, forget the good things they already have. Some, because they dream of a distant happiness, don't know they are already living amidst happiness. A mother longs for her child to grow up quickly. Then, when the child is grown, she regrets the days of childhood. A young person longs for wealth. Then, when they have money, they crave to return to a carefree time. One who has a house wishes for a bigger house. One who has love wishes for the other person to be more perfect. Like that, we constantly search and search. And then one day, we look back and see that the field of our life is almost over, and our hands are still empty. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering comes from the greedy mind. When we don't know how to stop, don't know enough, the mind will always be agitated. Like someone drinking seawater, the more they drink, the thirstier they become. The more we want, the more we fear losing. The tighter we hold, the more weary we become. Being content does not mean stopping moving, but knowing how to appreciate each step on the path we are walking. When we look at life with a grateful mind, we see everything becoming lighter. A simple meal feels delicious. An ordinary morning feels precious. A loving glance feels warm. Happiness is not a destination, but each breath we take while living mindfully. One day, when Min had grown up, he realized that his teacher's lesson from long ago was not just about a leaf, but about life itself. He realized that the things we don't have are sometimes not as important as appreciating what we do have. Min no longer chased after the most beautiful, but learned to sit still under the shade of a tree, watch leaves fall, listen to the wind blow across the field, and felt an unusual peace in his heart. It was then that he truly understood what happiness was. When we know contentment, our mind becomes broad. A contented person is not jealous, does not compare, is not attached. They live amidst life as if standing in cool water. Even big waves don't disturb them, because they know everything is impermanent. What is here today might be gone tomorrow. So they appreciate every moment they have. The Buddha once said that contentment is the first step of wisdom. Contentment is not resignation, but clearly understanding the nature of life, that nothing is perfect forever. Only a mind that knows enough brings peace to the heart. Life is like a cup of tea. If you keep stirring, the water will be murky. Only when you put the cup down to let the tea settle do you taste the true flavor. Similarly, only when our mind settles do we see life clearly and know what is precious. Someone asked, "How can one know contentment in a life that constantly changes?" The answer lies in mindfulness in every moment. When we eat, just eat. Feel the taste of the rice. When we breathe, just breathe. Be grateful that breath still enters and exits our chest. When we look at people, just look to see life present. Each mindful moment is a lotus blooming in the mind. Try a small practice. Tonight before sleep, light a small candle, or simply turn off your phone. Sit quietly in the peaceful darkness. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out slowly. Feel the breath entering and exiting your nose. Then softly say to yourself, "I am grateful that today I am still breathing, still seeing the light, still have a home to return to." Just practicing like this for 2 or 3 minutes each day, you will feel your heart change. When we are grateful, we will feel sufficient. When we feel sufficient, we naturally feel at peace. An old man once said, "The greatest suffering of humans is not lack, but not knowing that they already have enough." He told that in the past he was very poor, earning a living by repairing things at a market corner. Whenever people came to buy and paid less, he would still smile. People asked him, "Don't you feel disadvantaged?" He simply replied, losing a little to gain great joy. Years passed. He remained as poor as before, but everyone who met him felt happy. One evening, his grandson asked, "Grandpa, you've worked your whole life and never saved anything. Aren't you sad?" He smiled gently. "A small lamp is enough to light the night. If the heart is content, what more is needed?" That saying left his grandson silent. Indeed, sometimes we keep lighting big lamps and forget that just a small ray of light is enough to dispel darkness. Living simply, knowing contentment, does not mean lacking. It is inner freedom. When the mind is no longer bound by desires, we naturally feel life is light. A wise person is not one who has much, but one who has little, yet knows how to be happy with that little. Like a flower. It doesn't compare itself to the flower next to it, but just blooms in its own way. But humans suffer because of comparison, grow weary because they want more, become restless because they fear losing. But when we understand that everything is just temporary conditions, what is there to compare? Clouds still float in the sky. Wind still blows. Water still flows. Only the human heart needs to stop for a moment to breathe. Peace does not come from how much we have, but from how we see what we have. Some people have the whole world, but still feel empty. Some have nothing but a smile and a bowl of rice, yet their hearts are tranquil. The Buddha taught, "Knowing contentment is contentment, great contentment. Knowing enough is a great blessing. When we know enough, we live in the joy of the present. When we don't know enough, no matter how much we have, we will never feel joyful. Let your heart be like a lake, free of waves, so that happiness can reflect upon it. As you close your day before falling asleep, you can ask yourself one question. Have I had enough today? If the answer is yes, then even if life still holds many imperfections, you are living in blessings. Because when the mind is at peace, anywhere is a peaceful place. Happiness is not in grand things, but in how we smile at the present. A warm cup of tea, a bird singing, a gentle sunny afternoon, a loved one by our side. That is the happiness we constantly seek. So tonight, as you hear these words, allow your heart to relax. Look at the simple things around you and say a word of gratitude. Because sometimes all we need to do is stop, and happiness is already there. And in that silent moment, we will understand that there is no need to go far, no need to be perfect. Just knowing contentment is enough. When the mind is content, life will be content. When the heart is at peace, life will be at peace. When we are content, suffering will dissipate like morning mist under the sun. And like that, tonight you can sleep peacefully, knowing that happiness has never left you. It is right here in this breath, in this very moment. There are evenings when the last sunlight fades on the rooftops. We suddenly feel our hearts sink, a sense of emptiness permeating every breath, as if we have gone too far, forgotten something truly simple yet sacred. We have lived through countless years, toiling, striving, stumbling, only to realize, when we stop, that we no longer know how to see life as we did in the beginning. In the past, even a rain shower made us rejoice. A flower made us ecstatic. But now, rain makes us worry about slipping. Flowers make us fear falling petals, dirtying the yard. As we grow, our eyes gradually lose their clarity, and our soul is gradually covered by layers of dust from comparison, calculation, and fear. The Buddha once taught that when our mind returns to a state of non-thought, non-discrimination, non-attachment, that is when we live with our true mind. That mind is the mind of an innocent, pure child, not covered by the dust of greed, anger, ignorance. A child sees rain as rain, sun as sun, doesn't think rain is annoying, doesn't fear hot sun. But adults, as soon as they see dark clouds, worry. As soon as they see a ray of sunlight, they fear sunburn. Our mind is no longer as pure as before, because we always see life through the lens of fear, competition, calculation. One afternoon, in a small temple courtyard in a quiet village, a simple yet profound story took place. A 6-year-old girl named An was with her mother at the temple offering incense. As they walked, suddenly the first rain of the season fell. Everyone rushed to find shelter. Everyone feared getting wet, feared catching a cold. Little An, however, stopped, looked up at the sky, her sparkling eyes catching the first raindrops. She spread her hands to catch each cool drop of water, then burst into clear laughter. That laughter echoed in the space, light as the temple bell ringing in the quiet afternoon. A nun, seeing this from afar, smiled gently and softly said to those taking shelter, "Do you see? That is the mind of a child who sees rain as rain, without discrimination, without fear. When the mind is pure, rain is also dharma. Sun is also dharma." Those words left everyone silent. Something simple yet profound spread through the space. Some smiled, some bowed their heads in thought. The rain still fell, but no longer seemed cold. It became gentle, as if washing clean the souls of those who heard it. Little An still innocently ran in the rain, her clothes drenched, but her face radiant. Her mother stood watching her child, suddenly feeling her heart calm down. It had been a long time since she had heard such carefree laughter, and she suddenly realized that when we live in fear, we lose the pure joy of the present. Buddhist teachings say that a practitioner doesn't necessarily have to go deep into the forest or high up mountains, but just needs to learn how to return to their original mind. What is that original mind? It is when we look at life without labeling, without judging, without comparing. It is when we see a flower as just a flower, a person as just a person, sadness as just sadness, not calling it good, not calling it bad, just seeing it as it is. When we can live like that, our heart naturally becomes serene, because there's nothing left to resist, nothing to force. The ancients had a saying, "When the mind is pure, the environment is pure," meaning that when the mind is clear, the surroundings also become beautiful. Some look at a rainy moment and feel annoyed. Others see it as a moment washing away worldly dust. All that differs is the mind. A child's eyes look at life with curiosity and love. But adult eyes often look with fear and judgment. Therefore, what a spiritual seeker needs to practice is not trying to forget life, but seeing life with a pure mind like a child. A Zen master once said, "See the world with dust-free eyes." When we see with those eyes, we will see in a raindrop. There is both sky and earth. In a leaf, there is the breath of spring. In a person, there is both love and suffering. Within ourselves, there is both love and anger. Realizing all things are in flux, nothing needs to be resisted. Nothing needs to be eliminated. That is wisdom. When wisdom is present, the mind naturally becomes innocent. The story of little An reminds us of our own childhood. In the past, we didn't need much to be happy. Just a leaf spinning in the wind, a kite flying in the sky, or a small puddle made us smile. But now we have everything, yet our heart still feels empty. Why is that? Because we have lost the ability to live fully in the present moment. Our mind is pulled to the past, worried about the future, so it cannot be happy in the present. The Buddha taught that no one can step into the same river twice. The river of time always flows. Each moment is something new. but adults want to hold on to, want to cling to what has passed, thus suffering. A child doesn't think like that. It plays, it laughs, then it cries, then it laughs again. All are sincere. A child doesn't hide emotions, doesn't pretend, doesn't plan for the future, but lives very fully in the present moment. That is precisely the mindfulness that the Buddha taught. Mindfulness is not trying to sit still or trying to eliminate thoughts, but clearly seeing everything happening within and around oneself without judgment. When we are sad, know we are sad. When we are tired, know we are tired. When we hear the rain, know that it is raining. Just that. But that is the path back to oneself. Many people go to temples looking for peace. But peace is not in incense smoke or temple bells, but in the ability to see everything as it is. When we no longer distinguish good or bad, superior or inferior, when we let the mind flow naturally like water, we will find life much gentler. Little An wasn't afraid of the rain because she didn't think of rain as something bad. Adults fear rain because their minds are full of concepts. That difference is the boundary between the mundane mind and the pure mind. The Buddha taught that in everyone there is Buddha nature, meaning that within each of us are inherent seeds of wisdom and compassion. But those seeds are covered by layers of dust from worries, fears, and attachments. To make those seeds sprout, we need to nourish them with mindfulness and love. Each time we know how to stop to breathe, to smile, to listen to the rain, we are making those seeds grow. If today we feel our heart heavy, try closing our eyes, taking a deep breath, then opening our eyes and looking at life like a child seeing light for the first time. Look at the faces of loved ones without labeling them as pitiable or blameworthy. Just see them as people walking through life with us. Look at the rain without thinking of inconvenience or dirty roads, just seeing it as water returning to the earth. When we look with that mind, we naturally see everything becoming lighter. A monk once taught his disciples, when you see a flower, don't think it's beautiful or ugly, just see. When you hear a bird, don't think it's a good or bad sound, just hear. When you walk, don't think you're walking fast or slow, just know you're walking. That is practicing mindfulness. When mindfulness is present, suffering will gradually dissipate, because suffering only exists when we cling to judgments. Just like little An, she doesn't think about rain. so she is free in the rain. Adults think too much, so they tie themselves up in fear. Actually, life is not scary. Only the thoughts in our heads make us scared. When we drop those labels, the world becomes infinitely new and lovely. So let's learn again from children. Learn to laugh without reason, cry genuinely, love without calculation, and live fully in every moment. When we eat, just know eating. When we listen, just know listening. When we breathe, just know we are breathing. Each simple action is meditation, is living mindfulness. Tonight, before going to sleep, try a small exercise. Sit still, close your eyes, relax your entire body. Breathe in gently, feeling the breath entering. Breathe out slowly, feeling the breath exiting. When the breath enters, think, I am alive. When the breath exits, think, I am letting go. Do this for a few minutes, and you will feel the lightness gradually spreading. All worries, anxieties will also gradually dissipate like smoke and clouds. Then smile. Think about the image of little An under the first rain of the season. That rain, in the eyes of adults, is a nuisance, but in the eyes of a child, it's magic. This life is actually always full of magic. It's just whether we can still see it or not. When we learn to see life with the eyes of a child, we will see the miraculous in the ordinary. Dewdrops on leaves, wind through the porch, a loved one's smile, all become precious. And when our mind is grateful, the world around us naturally changes. Tonight, if your heart feels heavy, remember you don't need to become anyone else. Just return to yourself with the clear eyes of the beginning. Then all suffering will naturally dissipate because your mind no longer clings. This life is also like the first rain of the season. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's warm. But if we know how to see with a pure soul, we will see that each raindrop carries the love of heaven and earth. May you be peaceful tonight. May you, amidst life's many storms, retain your clear eyes to see that whether rain or shine, joy or sorrow, all are dharma, all are lessons, all are gifts that life bestows. There are days when we walk through life and feel the world around us seems colder than before. People rarely look at each other with warm eyes. Words also become rushed and sharp. We are tired of petty disputes. We close our hearts for fear of being hurt. Then, gradually, we forget that we once had a heart that knew how to love, how to share. Sometimes, just one small good deed is enough to change an entire heavy day. But we let that opportunity pass due to a bit of carelessness. The Buddha taught that among all paths leading to liberation, the path of loving kindness is the brightest. One with a kind mind, even in the bustling marketplace of life, feels at peace, because in their heart there is no shadow of hatred. Just as the moonlight, even in the darkest night, still shines, illuminating the entire sky. A kind mind is that moonlight. When our mind is kind, everything around us is illuminated by a gentle light. When our mind is evil, the whole world seems stained with darkness. All suffering or happiness ultimately arises from this very mind. There is a small but poignant story. It tells that An Tuan, a long-haul truck driver, always lived in the rush of life. His work made him leave early and return late, travel countless roads, meet countless people, and gradually he became crude and dry. He once thought that in this life, only by being strong would one not be at a disadvantage. Only by being puissant would one not lose. One rainy afternoon, he was rushing to deliver goods. Dusk was falling. The road was slippery. His car drove amidst the busy crowd. Suddenly, ahead, an old woman stood tottering by the sidewalk, holding a cane, eyes squinted due to rain and wind. She wanted to cross the street, but traffic was too heavy, and no one stopped. In that instant, An Tuan looked in his rearview mirror, saw the old woman trembling, standing there, not daring to step. A second of hesitation passed. Then he gently braked, turned on his hazard lights, and stepped out. Cars behind him honked incessantly. But he didn't care. He ran over, gently took the old woman's hand, and guided her across the street. Rain splashed his face. His clothes were drenched. But in his heart, there was a strange warmth. When they reached a safe place, the old woman smiled, her gentle eyes like the first moon of the month, then softly said, "You do good deeds. Light will follow you forever." He was stunned, bowed to the old woman, and quickly got back in his car. He didn't think much, just felt his heart lighten. A few days later, while driving on a familiar road, suddenly a large car lost control on the opposite side. In an instant, he intended to swerve to avoid it, but at that very moment, a small motorcycle cut across. He quickly braked, his heart pounding. If he hadn't stopped in time that day, maintaining a safe distance from his habit of helping people, an accident would probably have occurred. Amidst the moment of panic, the old woman's face and her words from the previous day suddenly appeared in his mind. He understood that sometimes a small good deed not only saves others, but also saves oneself. That story seems ordinary, but contains a profound truth that the Buddha once taught. When kindness arises in the mind, blessings follow. When evil arises, disaster comes. Karma is the result of the mind. When we plant a seed of kindness, even as small as dust, it will still bloom with good fortune in the future. But if we allow an evil thought to arise, it can lead to countless consequences of suffering. People often think that good deeds must be big things like offerings, extensive charity. But the Buddha taught that good is not just in action, but also in intention. A compassionate smile is also good. A gentle word is also good. An act of patience, a moment of knowing to stop anger. All are good. Good doesn't need to be displayed. No one needs to know. Because the very act of a good intention arising in the mind is a blessing. Someone asked, "Why do I live kindly yet still suffer?" The Buddha replied, "Seeds sown in many lives. Fruits ripen over many lifetimes. Good sown today will bloom. Tomorrow, not immediately. That is the law of cause and effect, impartial, neither slow nor fast, just waiting for the right conditions. Just like the moon, it is not full every night, but it will certainly be full when its time comes. Good deeds are the same. Sometimes the results are not yet visible, but their light is still growing in the realm of the mind, waiting for the day to illuminate everywhere. A kind-hearted person is usually not lonely because they radiate energy that makes others feel comfortable. Being with them, our heart calms down. One who speaks kindly, walks kindly, thinks kindly. Blessings will naturally follow them like a shadow that never leaves the body. But one who sows evil thoughts, no matter how skillfully hidden, their face will gradually darken. Their eyes lose their clarity. True beauty is not in outward appearance, but in the light radiating from within. The Buddha once taught about the 3 good karmas: good body, good speech, good mind. Good body is not harming anyone. Good speech is speaking kindly. Good mind is keeping the mind from evil thoughts. If these 3 are maintained, the blessings are immense. Because when body, speech, and mind are all good, wholesome karma is created. And bad karma naturally dissipates. Life at that time will naturally change, becoming lighter, more stable, like calm water, reflecting the moon at night. Once, someone asked a Zen master, "Master, I want to know what a truly good person is like." The Zen master smiled, pointed to the oil lamp in front of him, and said, "A good person is like this lamp. It doesn't need to say it's bright. it just quietly emits light, and darkness recedes. The listener fell silent. Indeed, a good person doesn't need to show off, doesn't need to prove anything. They just live with a sincere heart, and that light will naturally spread. In life, we can encounter small acts that contain deep kindness. Someone picking up trash on the street unseen. Someone giving up a seat for an elder without needing praise. Someone staying silent instead of arguing. All are seeds of kindness. When these seeds are numerous enough, they will form a field of blessings, helping us pass through storms without being swept away. Buddhist teachings say that good thoughts are like precious gems. The more they are polished, the brighter they shine. Each time we do a good deed, no matter how small, we are polishing the gem within our mind. Gradually, that light shines outwards, illuminating others as well. Compassion not only saves others, but also saves us from suffering. If today we feel our heart heavy, perhaps it's because we forgot to do good for ourselves. We have been too harsh on ourselves, too strict, too self-critical. Compassion is not just loving others, but also knowing how to love oneself. Speak to yourself with gentle words. Forgive old mistakes. Give yourself a chance to start over. When we have kindness towards ourselves, we can truly spread kindness to others. In daily practice, you can try a small exercise to cultivate a kind mind. Every morning when you open your eyes, silently cultivate a good thought. Today, I will do at least one good thing. No need for it to be grand. It could be helping someone smile, listening to a loved one, or simply not getting angry. Just that. And you have changed the energy of your entire day. Each night before sleep, remember what you did today that brought peace to your mind. Smile and be grateful for it. When we live mindfully of goodness, we are creating blessings for ourselves every day. Someone once asked, "This world has too much evil. Can a small, kind heart be of any use?" But my friend, in the dark night, just one lamp is enough to show the way. A kind word can save someone from despair. A sincere smile can melt away resentment. The light of goodness is never lost. If just one person initiates it, the whole space changes. Like that moonlight, though covered by clouds, it still shines behind them. A kind mind is the same. Even if sometimes it's covered by anger and ignorance, as long as we know how to stop and return, that light will reappear. Perhaps today we are not yet perfect. But as long as we continuously strive for good, a bright path will open before us. Tonight, as you hear the Buddha's teachings, let your mind settle. Remember a good deed you once did, no matter how small. Let that memory shine in your mind like moonlight reflecting on water. Feel the warmth, the peace spreading. Breathe in deeply, then breathe out gently. When breathing in, think that you are receiving positive energy. When breathing out, think that you are radiating compassion. Do this for a few minutes, and you will feel your heart soften, suffering gradually dissipating like clouds after rain. Then remember the old woman's words in the story. You do good deeds. Light will follow you forever. Indeed, that light follows us not just in one life, but through many lives. When we cultivate a kind mind, the Buddha nature within us is awakened. When the Buddha nature shines, the darkness of suffering cannot exist. Life is impermanent. What is here today might be gone tomorrow. But if we have the light of kindness in our heart, then wherever we go, we will not get lost. One with a kind mind walking in the dark is not afraid, because they themselves are the light. Let that kindness become a lamp in your heart, illuminating every step you take. When we live with a kind mind, life will become lighter. We will be less angry, less comparative, and more loving. A kind mind is like gentle moonlight, not blinding like the sun, but able to illuminate the entire long night in a busy life. As long as we keep the lamp of goodness in our heart, we will never get lost. May tonight, as you listen to these words, your heart also brighten like the moonlight in the still sky. May every action you do stem from kindness. May every word you speak carry positive energy. And may every breath you take be filled with love. Because amidst the vast darkness of life, just one kind mind is enough to illuminate countless deluded minds. There are nights when the city lights have faded, and only the sound of the wind filtering through the window remains. We lie there, looking up at the ceiling, feeling an indescribable weariness rising within us. Tired from work, from worries, from children, from unspoken words, from unresolved misunderstandings. And then, when night falls, we only wish for a place to lean on, a faith to release all the burdens in our heart. It is in that moment that we clearly see the value of the two words, peace. Because when the heart is at peace, all suffering dissipates. The Buddha taught that the root of all suffering begins from the mind. When the mind is not at peace, even sitting in a temple, listening to the ringing bells, the heart still feels restless. But when the mind is at peace, even in the bustling marketplace of life, we can still feel stillness and clarity. That peace is not something distant or sublime, but a state of awareness, knowing how to stop, how to observe oneself, and how to accept. Each time our heart is agitated, remember that the wind can only ripple the surface of the lake, but cannot remove the inherent stillness of the water. Our mind is the same. No matter how turbulent life becomes, as long as we know how to return and abide in mindfulness, we will find peace again. Someone once asked, "How can one find peace amidst a life full of changes?" The Buddha taught, "To have peace, one must first learn to let go." Letting go is not losing, but returning everything to its proper place. Let go of resentment for a lighter heart. Let go of the past for the present to be lived fully. Let go of desires to realize that happiness is actually within reach. When we can let go, we are no longer controlled by fear, by anger, or by suffering. Just like one holding a hot coal, only by letting go does the burning stop. The story of Mdes Han, the woman who went through so many storms in life, is a reminder for all of us. Years ago, she went to the temple, stood before the statue of Guan Yin, and cried. She prayed for an end to her suffering, for life's storms to cease. That night, in a dream, Guan Yin appeared, gently handing her an umbrella and saying, "I cannot shield you from the rain, but I give you this umbrella for you to shield yourself." When she woke up, she suddenly understood that the Buddha does not come to carry anyone's karma, but to show us the path to save ourselves. From then on, she began to practice understanding herself, practicing good deeds, practicing patience, practicing letting go of what could not be changed. Gradually, the suffering within her also dissipated like morning mist before the sun. The Buddha taught, "Be a lamp unto yourselves." That is not only a teaching of wisdom, but also a reminder of self-reliance. Everyone has the ability to illuminate themselves, as long as we are willing to stop and look within. Praying for others to help us suffer less is no different from wishing someone else would eat to make us full. But when we know how to transform ourselves, know how to put our trust in our own kind mind, we will see that the Buddha is always in every breath, in every simple moment of life. Sometimes our heart is heavy, not because of big things, but only because of small things. A word that hurt us, a misunderstanding not yet resolved, a loved one who doesn't understand our heart. And so we hold it all in our heart, letting them become heavy stones. But if we look deeper, we will see that suffering does not come from others, but from how we hold on to them. Just like water running through our hands, the tighter we try to grasp it, the more we lose. Only when we open our heart and let go do we truly feel lightness. The Buddha once said, "When the mind is at peace, the environment is peaceful. When our mind is still, the surroundings also become gentler, on the same road. But when our heart is angry, we find everyone difficult. But when our heart is filled with love, we find the smile of a stranger also warm." That is why the journey to find peace is not external, but an internal journey of returning within. If every night before sleep we spend a few minutes to settle down, to listen to the Buddha's words, to reflect on ourselves, we will see the mind gradually purify. Sit still, relax your shoulders, gently close your eyes, and feel the breath entering and exiting at your nose. Breathe in. We know we are breathing in. Breathe out. We know we are breathing out. Just that, and body and mind have settled. If there is anything causing restlessness in your heart, silently tell yourself, "I am learning to forgive. I am learning to let go. I am learning to love." Those words are like a cool, refreshing rain, washing away all worries, bringing us back to original stillness. Peace is not when there is no more suffering, but when we know how to smile amidst suffering, like a lotus growing from mud, but still retaining its pure fragrance. Everyone's life has its own low notes, but if we know how to transform them, those low notes create a profound melody. A peaceful person is not peaceful because they have less suffering, but because they clearly understand the nature of suffering and do not let suffering control them. A Zen master once said, "Within each person, there are two wolves. One symbolizes anger, worry, jealousy. The other symbolizes love, compassion, and peace. Whichever one is stronger depends on which one you feed every day. If every night we nurture gratitude and compassion, the wolf of peace will grow, and suffering will gradually dissipate. Sometimes, just a small change in perspective, and our entire inner world changes. Instead of blaming, we learn to accept. Instead of comparing, we learn to know enough. Instead of fearing, we learn to trust. And when the heart is at peace, everything in life becomes lighter. One with a peaceful mind even amidst storms, still sees a clear sky. One with an awakened mind, even amidst worries, still hears the temple bells ringing in their heart. If someone is listening to these words on a quiet evening, consider this a small gift for your soul. Let go of all worries from the day gone by. Don't carry anything heavy into tomorrow. Let your mind be peaceful, like a lake after rain. Let your soul settle in the Buddha's teachings. Because when the heart is at peace, all suffering dissipates. And from today, cultivate a small habit. Before going to sleep, spend a few minutes to breathe, to give thanks, to let go. Give thanks that you are still alive, still able to hear, still able to love. Breathe for the mind to return to the present. Let go so that tomorrow we can walk lighter. That is the simplest miracle that the Buddha has shown us. Every night, let your mind be still like a lake. Listen to the Buddha's words. Reflect on yourself. Suffering dissipates. Peace arrives. When we learn how to live like that, then no matter how many changes life brings, within us there will always be a place that is never disturbed. That is the place of abiding, of awareness, of true happiness. And it is then that we understand that there is no need to seek the Buddha far away, for the Buddha is always within our own mind.